And our first speaker will be Tristan Serreta from Airbus Industries. He is Chief Operating Officer, and I'm not going to mention all of the CV and everything, because for that, the German-Canadian Concourse has created those growth brochures where you can find everything. I'd rather hear what you have to tell us, Tristan, and thank you very much for being with us.
Guten Nachmittag. Bonjour à tous, chers amis. Happy to be here and try to make you understand or better understand what Airbus is doing in matters of UAS, starting by this interesting question, UAS in daily operations, amusing dream or reality soon. I'm sure that you remember the arrival of internet during the mid-90s, and basically we were asking ourselves the same question, and we have a result today, 20 years after, about exactly what it looks like. And I know that after the date of 2000, things have accelerated. And I think that potentially, and this is my intuition, that this should be the same for UAS. So just for you, Airbus has one daring to redefine the future. In big organization, the issue is not to innovate, is to identify who is doing what and to talk together. And I wanted you to better understand the players in the field at Airbus, in the field of UAS. First, you have the Airbus CTO, Chief Technical Officer, Paul Rememco, and the team in Toulouse, who is involved, of course, in this long-run innovation cycle. A-Cube, a company that has been created in Silicon Valley in the US, is also in charge of several programs that I will kind of introduce to you. Of course, it will be short, and we don't have the time to dig in very precisely. UAS and Aerial is in Munich, Atlanta, and Aja. This is the structure for which I'm Chief Operating Officer. The headquarters is here in Munich with Jana Rosenmann. And Airbus Helicopters also, and I come from Airbus Helicopters in Marignane, is also in Singapore developing a project, and is also in Germany developing a US project. So you see you have several players in the organization, and we managed to, all of them to go in the same direction. Basically, what you have on the left is the urban air mobility topic that I will introduce to you briefly. On the right, the activity for which I'm involved in particular, remote sensing and connectivity. The one on the left is about transporting people. I'm sure that everyone is excited about this flying taxi that we see in the movies for ages, since the cinema exists, basically. And the remote sensing and connectivity maybe is less sexy in this sense. At least we are already doing some business with that. And I want to introduce the few programs that we're running to do so. And in between, I would say in the middle, we have Skyways, program of last mile delivery, transporting parcels in Singapore, that the experimentation that will start next month, actually, meaning operationally. Of course, it's already a couple of years that we work on that. And a program that I was leading when I was at Airbus Helicopters till, I would say, 31st of August this year, because I've just joined Germany on the 1st of September. A few rationales for supporting our air mobility, urban air mobility topic. Cities are growing. Cities are, as you know, more and more polluted by noise, by NOx. Vehicles are everywhere. It's more and more difficult to transport things or to move people. A few figures, of course, we have made an in-depth analysis on that. Everything is on internet. I mean, for the people who are really looking for figures. And the traffic congestion costs a lot of money in terms of efficiency, in terms of health, in terms of productivity. And by 2030, this will be a real issue, and this is already in some cities. And that's why we think that we have to innovate and bring to the world of transport a new way of moving people and things around. And the electrification technologies, plus all the sensors that today could help us switching from manned to unmanned aircraft, are already there on the market. So it's time, for us to move, and this is what we're doing. First, Vahana, which I'm sure that you have heard of, is this project led by A-Cube. This is, the logo here on the top left, so that you can recognize who is doing what exactly based on the 4 players that I've described previously. More than a word, I set a video so that you can better understand what it looks like. The first flight of Vahana did take place already, so we have prototypes. This is made in Silicon Valley in California. The objective of that is, you understand, to transport only 1 passenger. It's for suburban transport in particular, connecting, for example, airports to the city, up to, I would say, a distance of between 50 and 60 kilometers at 175 kilometers per hour. This is the target. And of course, we face all the difficulties that we thought we would face during these challenges, during this experimentation. But things are starting. And of course, as it's 1 passenger only, it's autonomous. And this, but this will be discussed later, this is a challenge to have nobody on board, meaning that to have artificial intelligence plus control system plus safety plus. And this is today what we go for with the Vahana. A second bird to transport people using electricity and 8 rotor is City Airbus, which is done here in Munich, in Germany. First flight is planned end of next year. We are today experimenting and testing the systems, propulsion systems, communication systems, encrypted communication system. It's a 4-person transport. The first step will be with 1 pilot. And of course, little by little, we can remove the pilot with limited autonomy or automatic flight. And then afterwards, you can remove the pilot when the confidence is there for the regulator, for the people around, and of course, for the people inside the vehicle, because as you know, it's a challenge also. This is what we call social acceptance or change management. And I think that in all this project, we are in the middle we are in between today and very far tomorrow. And we have to manage that, meaning being able to convince all the people to go in the same direction. It's like in a company, for regulators, for OEMs, manufacturers, peoples, and potentially also other suppliers. Working in the same direction is always, as you know, a challenge. For the one running a family, they all know this also. So I don't play the movie. It's some kind of movie that you have. It's a presentation of the I would say, the mock-up. So 1/7 mock-up doesn't fly yet, so maybe next year on YouTube you can, or other, of course, providers, you can find some video clips. Skyways is this last mile delivery scenario in Singapore on the campus of the National University of Singapore in partnership with the Singapore Post. Heavily, I would say, sponsored and monitored very closely by the civil aviation authorities of Singapore, with which we have signed a MOU during the Singapore Air Show 2016. And there will be a demonstration, the Singapore Air Show 2018. So if you have people there, or if you travel, I invite you to go first at the Singapore Air Show to have a look at that. Even if the live demonstration will not be there, it will be on the NUS campus of the National University of Singapore campus. I invite you to go and ask for a demonstration, live demonstration, because it will be not an in vitro, but an in vivo demonstration connected to postal operations for delivering postal parcels. In a nutshell, this is complicated, I know. This was an engineer design thing, even it was a vulgarization pattern. Every time I show that, I say, oh, it's complicated maybe. You know that it's not a drone that we are building with Skyways, for example, but it's the same for the rest. And in particular for this type of things, it's a system of systems, meaning that the drone is only a part. It's a system of this whole system of systems. You must know that a lot of other systems contribute to the objective of safety, because having a parcel, even a 20 kilograms drone flying over your head, if it falls from 200 meters or 150 meters, you understand that it's something that could damage a car, or even worse, your head, very hard. And in that case, you need all the systems to contribute to the objective of safety, which is set together with the Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore, including maintenance program, air traffic management that we have built for that, parcel station, allowing precise landing and precise takeoff, but also corridor monitoring system, because we have designed some corridors like tubes, virtual tubes. Of course, there is no tube in the air for the drone to go in, to transport that. This is Skyways, and this is what we have done since February 2016, and will be available, which is available now, I would say, next month, exactly. And finally, all that is in the, I would say, urban air mobility topic, the one on the left on the first slide. I don't know if you remember. And Altiscope. So what is Altiscope? Maybe more than a long speech. I'll let you see this video clip. It's interesting. And I say some words afterwards. Let's play it.
The birth of aviation and the advances made since have fundamentally changed our world. Today, people around the globe are enjoying greater mobility and connectivity than ever before. By 2030, new types of traffic will share our airspace, and our skies are projected to be 10 times busier. In this new era of aviation, these novel vehicles will perform a range of work enabled by use-based services. Farmers will be better able to maintain crop quality and yields, increasing food security for our citizens. Energy companies will be able to monitor gas lines and solar panels, ensuring a constant supply of power for our industries and homes. Incorporating new aircraft types and services will improve the flow of people and goods, boosting economic opportunities. Electric-powered air taxis will ferry people to their final destinations. Autonomous cargo aircraft will connect local manufacturing centers with global markets. Manned and unmanned traffic will operate in harmony, serving people and delivering a myriad of services. Packages will be delivered quickly and efficiently without adding congestion to our roads. As the number of flights increase, use-based services will provide coordination and oversight to make safe operations a reality. Our airspace will be dynamically managed, improving through shared operational data. For example, during a sports event, most flights will be rerouted around the stadium. Only authorized media and emergency vehicles may access the airspace. Citizens will have new ways of moving, working, and living. A digital European sky holds great promise for our citizens and our businesses as we travel into the next age of aviation.
So back to Altiscope. Altiscope is a simulator that helps us define the requirements of the various scenarios, meaning Vahana, City Airbus, Skyways, and the rest. that we want to happen tomorrow. And of course, it's not an ATM itself, an air traffic management tool, you understand. But what is true is that before designing a tool, you need to know where to go. It's, you know, you cannot reach an objective that you don't set before. And Altiscope helps us to today run simulation and set these objectives. And you can see that it's something that is quite complex. And this is set also by AQ. So let's go to Aerial. Aerial is a software. It's a platform that put together a source of information coming from satellites, manned aircraft, and unmanned aircraft in the same platform, fusioning this data to provide analytics, not images, for example, but real advice or recommendations to vertical users. I explain myself very quickly. You have this intelligent agriculture, for example, topic, or insurance that need before and after dramatic event, like, for example, a disaster like Harvey. Need to know exactly, in function of the damages that are made to the house, what was the shape of the house before and what is after. And this type of information, together with the analytics, is possible today with the Airbus Aerial, and we're already doing this type of thing in the US, and of course, our plan is to extend that into Europe and Asia, and that's why we are creating Airbus Aerial Asia very soon, and we are already the structure set up now in Munich. I played the video. I think it's interesting for you to understand how it works.
Satellite and drone technologies are expanding the boundaries of possibility. They are changing the way we manage our resources, the way we make decisions, and the way we connect to one another. Yet with the power of these technologies comes complex challenges to operate at scale, deliver rapid insights, and produce actionable data that solves real-world problems. But now, from a global leader in space and aeronautics comes a bold new solution. Airbus Aerial is a comprehensive digital service bringing together the benefits of small drone technology, high-altitude unmanned aircraft, existing Airbus satellite infrastructure, and customized software to manage data capture and analysis, providing truly actionable data to customers. This new service utilizes every layer of the data capture infrastructure, delivering a holistic view of high-quality imagery and sensing solutions for a wide array of industry applications, providing deep insights through a customized software infrastructure that delivers analytical tools and rapid access to reliable information, empowering customers to make decisions and solve real-world problems. Imagine a future where the world is connected in times of need. A future where the next generation of logistics brings us closer together. A future where organizations have the insights they need to make decisions faster, reduce costs, and improve the lives of their customers. This is the future of digital services. This is Airbus Aerial.
Between the US and the people. If you don't have something that people can use, you have nothing. And this interface is absolutely key, and a lot, of course, of startups are not focusing on that because of lack of capacities, knowledge sometimes. This is a part of our job. Of course, without drones or without manned aircraft or satellites, you cannot provide anything to your customer, in particular the analytics that are on this image and videos. But if you do, you can transform the world tomorrow. And this is the same for cargo. 1 year ago, this idea was even not there, and today we are already generating money with that. This is a reality, meaning that the change is within us. We just have to decide to enable. This is a kind of consultant speech, but this is a reality. I mean, we just have to have the power on ourselves to decide whether we go or we don't. And we decided to go there. It seems it works, meaning that we have the market reacting to that. But of course, without the data, the systems, We don't do anything. That's why we are also engaged into the system side. This system, for example, I will not play the video, not to use the whole time, because I see that I have 5 minutes left. Yes, I'm a former Air Force, and that's why. I have my chrono running. Quad Cruiser is a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. We have already a demonstrator of 3 meters wingspan, but we target a bigger Quad Cruiser, 500 kilograms, with a kind of endurance range, roughly 12 hours, transporting payload for remote sensing, which could be good, for example, in large countries that need having this type of sensors permanently flying for coastal surveillance, or transport of parcel, for example, of small cargo, I would say up to 50 kilograms, into remote locations where time is absolutely critical. This type of asset that is already flying, that is already demonstrating excellent results, we have decided to launch these assets, and we are already working on that in the design and in the production of this Quad Cruiser. Other aircraft, the Zephyr. Zephyr already exists in a small size, and we have a program that will go through 2 steps. It's a high-altitude pseudo-satellite. It's the one that you have seen in the movie, in the small movie, flying at 20, 25 kilometers. What we have achieved already is flying at this altitude. It's a solar aircraft with batteries, meaning able of taking off and going to this altitude alone and staying there for 4 months before coming back for maintenance. So we can have a constellation of Zephyr flying autonomously, because the autonomy is still there, and this is still the problem of not only this system, but a system of systems that we have to face is already launched and is already being developed. I think that's it. We have covered the range of what I would say what I can tell to you, but what I've told to you is, I think, the most important. We have a lot of small projects, also important, but maybe not the same, I would say, the same ambition, but all going into this direction. Now we have 3.5 minutes left for the question, if I may. I'm doing well, huh?
You're doing very well. Okay. Thank you very much, Tristan.
Thank you.
Big applause. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. We have now about 5 minutes to take questions, but you will also later join us on the podium.
I'll be there, yeah.
So, but there's a first round of questions, and Christina, please let me know if there are questions on the Canadian side. So I see a hand here. Please say who you are and keep it a question. And I don't give my micro out of my hand.
I'm not doing a conference for it. But Tristan, I would like to ask you, you were mentioning the data question. Are you aware that there are limits of growth in doing something with the data in the future?
Thank you.
I didn't get the question. I'm sorry.
It's about data and
Yeah.
how you will react to the data situation in the future, knowing it's somehow limited.
Okay.
Just to add, it's a question of energy, because through your raw library have piled up maybe petabytes in Airbus, and only 1% is already exploited.
Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely. I would say maybe I will be very, I will be judged as stupid in things. I don't know how to answer to that question, because the principle of data, all the data that we have already in the world and that are not used, is the fact that people don't know how to use that and what is the value to the market. So let's be, I would say, and this is the choice that we've made with AIOL, let's be market oriented. Let's go to customers like insurance company or power grid companies, utilities in general, or oil and gas companies, or other companies, and agriculture companies, big group, and ask them, okay, what is your real issue that you can try to solve, and let's look ourselves how we can solve that with data. So for sure, the objective is not to collect and store data that we have no effect on, I would say, the customer satisfaction tomorrow. In fact, it's the only way to know that is to talk to customers. And this is what we have started to do. We communicate. This is also one of the reasons of my presence here, is to let people know about what we are doing. so that altogether in an ecosystem we reach towards, I would say, the real answers to the world issues in general. Airbus is extremely oriented into safety from the beginning. It will be the same with data. I mean, the objective is not to collect and store data somewhere, is to remain safety and security oriented, but at the same time, we are a private company and we want to generate business and find a way to help our customers. In that case, it will be different customers. You understand that it's not about airlines to solve their issues, their operational issues on a daily basis. This is the plan.
Thank you.
I don't know if I answered properly to your question, but...
Thank you, Tristan. Christina, are there questions?
No, I don't see any questions right now, Alex.
Okay, then we refer a look around here. Okay, then Tristan, thank you very much for the kickoff of our conference with your keynote. And I would like a last applause for Tristan before he joins us back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.